Left field La Liga star, old favourite, the players Man United must now sign first for Erik ten Hag. Ahead of the summer transfer window opening on Friday, Men Sports Man United writers have had their say on who the club should be making their top transfer target. As a result of the speculation concerning Erik ten Hag's future, now shut down after the announcement he is staying at Old Trafford, it has been somewhat easy to forget the summer transfer window will open for business on Friday morning. Manchester United, with ten Hag in charge, expected to be busy over the summer in preparation for the 2024-25 campaign. Fresh legs are expected to be added to the squad and player sales could reach double figures. United have plenty to do this summer, both in terms of incomings and outgoings, but it will be the new arrivals that will excite supporters most. The club has been linked with a plethora of names over the last few weeks. But who do our United writers believe the Dutchman should be insisting is brought in first to help him after he's avoided the axe? Who should the Reds be making their number one target this summer? Below, they have had their say. Tyrone Marshall. United need another defender to partner Lisandro Martinez and will probably need a midfielder to replace Casemiro, but it still feels like those positions aren't as essential as finding a striker to take the heat off Rasmus Højlund. Having finally waved Anthony Marshall goodbye, United need a replacement to compete with Højlund and allow him to be rotated out of the team at times. At the moment the only possible option is Marcus Rashford, but he is coming off a disappointing season and has rarely looked a threat at no. 9.it feels that if Erik ten Hag can land a forward then it will allow the window to be dominated by the search for other key positions. United also only need a striker to compete with Højlund, not replace him, so although it is left field I am going to suggest someone like Youssef En-Nesyri would be a smart addition. He is out of contract at Sevilla next year and isn't likely to sign a new deal, which means he could be available for around €15 million to €20 million. For a player with a good goal-scoring record who looks physically equipped for the Premier League, that could be a snip. Get that position sorted and attention can turn elsewhere for the recruitment department, who will be safe in the knowledge a big chunk of the budget hasn't been eaten up. Stephen Railston. For me, the transfer priority this summer must be signing a number 6 to play alongside Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes. Casemiro's drop-off in the last 12 months has been remarkable, bad, and ten Hag should now pack the Brazilian's bags for him and even drive him to the airport himself to catch a plane to Saudi Arabia for next season. Who replaces Casemiro, has the quality to play in that position and is an attainable option is the question. Declan Rice should have been signed when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was in charge, but the ship has long sailed and Arsenal's £100 million deal to sign him has looked like good value. United should use the bulk of their budget for the signing of a number 6, but they wouldn't have to if making a move for someone like Fulham's João Palhinha. In a dream scenario, Aurelien Tchouameni would be lured away from Real Madrid, but João Palhinha is attainable for a reasonable transfer fee and has proved himself to be an excellent operator in the Premier League. I'd also throw Joshua Kimmich's name into the mix, but he'd cost more. George Smith. You could argue that one of up to 4 positions that need strengthening should take priority. However, following the exit of Raphael Varane, there is a strong case for strengthening at centre-back first. United have taken a liking to Everton's Gerard Branthwaite and he heads into this summer's window following a very impressive season, meaning he will not come cheap. However, United have no choice but to strengthen their centre-back department and Branthwaite ticks a lot of boxes. Not only is he young and held in very high esteem, he is also an excellent ball player, strong on both feet and defensively sound. There is no denying he will cost United a pretty penny, but they need to source a long-term partner for Martinez in the heart of their defence. Branthwaite, who is unfortunate to have missed out on a place in the England squad for Euro 2024, has all of the hallmarks of a world-class centre-back in the making. With his stock on the rise and United in desperate need of a successor for Varane, he would be a very sensible starting point in their summer recruitment drive. Stephen Killen. United are in desperate need of strengthening their backline after last season's showing. Branthwaite and Edmund Tapsoba are among the central defenders to have interested those at Old Trafford. While both offer quality, they will come at a cost, especially with clubs knowing United are on the hunt to strengthen their defence. One player ten Hag knows well is Matthijs de Ligt, and the Bayern Munich defender has been a rumoured target for many years, even before ten Hag arrived in Manchester. The Dutchman has arrived at a crossroads in his career after facing criticism at Juventus and a lack of playing time under Thomas Tuchel in Bavaria. Reports have emerged this week that the German giants are looking to offload the 24-year-old in a bid to boost their finances and get a high earner off the books. United could have a bargain option that would leave enough of the budget to strengthen other areas of the squad. Ten Hag will know what De Ligt's strengths and weaknesses are. Capitalizing on De Ligt's situation at the Allianz Arena is a no-brainer. Kieran King. While a forward and a central midfielder should be signed this summer, the one position they must prioritize centre-back. Varane has already confirmed his departure at the end of his contract, while Johnny Evans could yet follow him out of the exit door. Evans' possible departure would leave Martinez, Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof and Willy Cambuala as the only recognized first-team central defenders, and Maguire and Lindelof could also make way this summer. Branthwaite and Tapsoba are among those United could target. Both would offer quality and versatility, having impressed for Everton and Bayer Leverkusen respectively during the 2023-24 season. Another player linked is De Ligt, and he would be the player I would target. He knows what it takes to play for a big club, he has worked with Ten Hag, is young enough to improve and has shown he has the skill needed to play at the top level. His career has nosedived a little of late, but that means he has a point to prove, and where better to do that than United? Manchester United might have a wildcard striker target who is available for £34 million. Man United need to sign another striker this summer, and forward Joshua Zirkzee is said to be a target at Old Trafford. It took Rasmus Højlund until December to score his first goal in the Premier League. Manchester United invested £72 million to sign Højlund from Atalanta last summer, and he was signed because the club believed he could become one of Europe's best strikers. Højlund scored 5 goals in the Champions League group stage, but it took him months to break his duck in the league, and he looked relieved when finding the net on December 26. The forward only celebrated his 21st birthday in February, and United knew they were signing potential. Højlund made a promising start to fulfilling that potential in Manchester, but there's no denying another striker is required to support him in the 2024-25 campaign. It was unfair to expect Højlund to shoulder the burden of scoring United's goals on his own last season, and it would be foolish to continue with him as the only recognized striker. Although Anthony Martial was on the books last term, he cannot be relied upon, and only played 620 minutes, which left Højlund as the sole striker. The Frenchman is leaving on a free transfer, and it's crucial United replace him with a striker who can compete with Højlund. Højlund scored 16 goals in 43 appearances, which represented a respectable return in his first season in England, but there were times when he struggled, and that was expected. It will be fascinating to see how many goals Højlund can produce next term, and whether the arrival of another forward this summer will spur him on to another level. United must sign a new core of the team, a striker, a midfielder, and a centre-back. They have budgeted for those positions, and any other arrivals would be offset by sales. Fans will be particularly excited about the prospect of signing a new striker because scoring goals makes more headlines than keeping clean sheets. That's just how the game works. United don't have the money to sign an elite striker, nor are they in the position to persuade one of the world's best forwards to sign. The Reds might have lifted the FA Cup, but they finished 8th in the Premier League, and that will impact the calibre of players they can attract. Nonetheless, United are still the biggest club in England. They pay lucrative wages, and qualifying for the Europa League thanks to their FA Cup success is a huge boost in the market. Definitely it will have an impact on the budget, but I'm sure Manchester United is a very attractive team and club to play for, said Erik Ten Hag in May about missing out on Champions League football. Many players will be very happy to play for Manchester United, I'm sure. Perhaps one of the players who would be delighted to join United could be Joshua Zirkzee, whose goals in Serie A helped Bologna qualify for the Champions League. Bologna defied the odds to finish in the Italian top four last term. They enjoyed their best season since 1967-1968, and Zirkzee started 32 out of a possible 38 league games. Zirkzee contributed 11 goals and 5 assists in those appearances, and although he wasn't prolific, that was a decent return, and he's still only 23 years old. A product of Bayern Munich's academy, Zirkzee joined Bologna in August 2022 and began to find his groove last season. He finished the campaign as Bologna's top goalscorer and is believed to have a release clause of £34 million, with United, Arsenal and AC Milan all said to be interested. Reports in Italy suggest Milan are pushing to sign Zirkzee, and that demonstrates why United needed to clarify their managerial situation. They couldn't afford to lose any more time. The transfer window opens for Premier League sides on Friday, and £34 million for a striker of Zirkzee's profile is good value. United can now advance their efforts to sign them, with a decision on Ten Hag having been communicated. Marcus Rashford sent Manchester United transfer message after Erik Ten Hag decision. Marcus Rashford has been told his career may reap the benefits of a move away from Manchester United. Former Premier League defender Jose Enrique believes a Manchester United departure could benefit Marcus Rashford. The 26-year-old has had a rollercoaster 24 months at Old Trafford after his form and United performances came under fire. After hitting the heights in his early career, he has struggled within Erik Ten Hag's side following the emergence of Alejandro Garnacho, which has left the England international swapping out of his natural left-wing position into a central role. Rashford was in the headlines throughout United's worst English top-flight performance in 30 years after enduring spells on the bench and out of the squad. As a result of his form, Gareth Southgate opted against selecting Rashford in his 33-man preliminary squad ahead of the Three Lions European Championships campaign in Germany. The attacker has spoken out defiantly against questions over his commitment to United and cut an emotional figure after their FA Cup final triumph over Manchester City last month. However, Enrique feels that Rashford's career could be boosted with a move abroad, citing the likes of Barcelona and Bayern Munich as possible destinations. Rashford needs to leave Manchester United. A move abroad may help him, he told Grosvenor Sports. Enrique was also asked about Manchester United's Marcus Rashford, who has been linked to a move away from Old Trafford and was left out of Gareth Southgate's England squad for Euro 2024. I think Marcus Rashford needs to leave Manchester United. I think he needs to move to another country, Germany or Spain perhaps. Especially if João Felix doesn't continue at Barcelona. Rashford could definitely go and play on that left side. I also think Bayern Munich could be a good option for Rashford. I believe Leroy Sane only has 1 year left on his contract there, so I could definitely picture Rashford as a good replacement for him in the Bundesliga. He added, Rashford is that kind of level, he has the quality to be a top player in any league in Europe. I am a massive fan of Rashford, I'm just not sure it will work out for him in England now. The top clubs here have already got lots of strength in depth in this left attacking position, for example Jeremy Doku and Jack Grealish at Manchester City. This is another reason why I think that a move out of the country would benefit Marcus Rashford. Captaincy, playing style and two key signings. Erik Ten Hag in tray after Man United boss avoids sack. Man United have decided to keep Erik Ten Hag as manager, and now the decision has been made. He has some key challenges ahead. Erik Ten Hag will stay on as Manchester United manager after surviving an end-of-season review into a disappointing campaign. The Dutchman was close to the sack heading into the FA Cup final, but victory against Manchester City and the manner in which it was achieved has helped convince Ineos chiefs that he remains the man to lead United into a new era. Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sir Dave Brailsford conducted a thorough review into the season just gone, which saw United finish 8th in the league and suffer 14 defeats, both club records in the Premier League era. A significant injury crisis played a part in that string of poor results, and Ten Hag felt the FA Cup final performance, when some of his key men had returned, was evidence of what he could achieve if he had a fully fit squad to work with. That view has now been backed by Ineos, and having survived this season, Ten Hag must deliver significant improvements if he is to repay that faith. These are the issues which should be top of his in-tray now he begins to plan for the 2024-25 season. Convince captain to stay. He might not have been considered an untouchable when United were drawing up a list of potential sales this summer, but amid interest from Bayern Munich and Barcelona, convincing Bruno Fernandes his future is at Old Trafford should be key. Lifting the FA Cup was another feather in the cap for Fernandes, who has enjoyed an excellent season despite the difficulties going on around him. He remains the best player in this squad and an almost irreplaceable cog in the side, given the quantity of goals and assists he provides. Fernandes turns 30 in September, and for his consistent excellence at United, he has just a Carabao Cup and FA Cup medal. He expects to be playing in the Champions League and challenging for titles and wants the club to show they match that ambition. Define clear playing style. One of the roles of technical director Jason Wilcox is to draw up a game model at United, essentially a style of play that can be replicated from first team down through the age groups and can survive the vicissitudes of managerial change. Ten Hag's style changed last season to try and be more front foot, but amid that nightmare injury crisis it became chaotic and those games rarely suited United. They have the better players in most games, but allowed too many contests to come down to luck. Along with Wilcox, Ten Hag needs to develop a style of play that plays to United's strengths, focusing on the speed in attack and creating chances, while also reducing the number of shots faced. There was a concession to circumstances in the final 3 games of last season, but that was a temporary solution. Develop Ineo's relationships. Talking of Wilcox, it's going to be key for Ten Hag to develop relationships with Ineo's employees. He has already held plenty of discussions with the technical director as well as talking to Sir Dave Brailsford. At some point, Dan Ashworth will begin work as sporting director and next month Omar Barada will start as chief executive. It is vital Ten Hag builds working relationships now the power base around Carrington has shifted. The Dutchman is adamant he will retain a veto over transfers, and he did have a strong relationship with Ajax sporting director Mark Overmars, a loyalty that has perhaps gone too far given his ongoing defense of the disgraced executive. There is also the matter of trust with the sporting chiefs at United that may need rebuild after other managers were clearly and openly sounded out during the review period. Fill 2 key positions. How much say Ten Hag has in transfers will have been a point of discussion over his retention. It promises to be a busy summer of arrivals and departures. Depth is needed in some positions, most notably centre-forward, but 2 of the key signings could be someone to start alongside Lisandro Martinez and a new holding midfielder. Casemiro is still likely to depart, despite finishing the season in better form. He struggled for much of the campaign, and going into this season with the Brazilian holding the midfield together would be a risk. Finding a replacement will be a key cog this summer. Assess injury record. One of the key areas for improvement next season is avoiding the kind of disastrous injury record that derailed the campaign just gone. Changes have been afoot in the medical department and a review into the issues has been carried out. The number of muscle injuries and injuries picked up in training suggests it is more than just bad luck. Ten Hag needs to make sure he is doing all he can at Carrington to avoid a repeat and keep his key players available more often.